So welcome back to another video here in Pennsylvania, and I believe we're currently in Columbia County. We were over in Schuylkill County earlier filming a couple things. But as I was doing research and planning my route for today's adventure, as I often do, I check out Google Maps, check out the route I'm going to take. I came across this little cemetery on Google Maps. It's called the Heatherling Cemetery, or sometimes known as the Lindenmuth Cemetery. Got a little bit of traffic. The Lindenmuth Cemetery, Lindenmuth. And I didn't really know anything in particular about it. I could see some interesting old tombstones over there. So I Googled it, the cemetery, and lo and behold, a video came up on YouTube, and it's someone that I know. It's Chris from DD Explorers. I filmed with her in the past. She was here some time ago, I think back in 2018, and she filmed a video on this spot. So I was watching her video, but you can see some of the older style tombstones. We'll take a look at those in a moment. Some are unmarked. But in the middle, there's a larger, more modern column replacing an older one. And as she was filming that larger column, she said something that piqued my interest. Of course, we're doing a series on the French and Indian War, and she mentioned that this fellow in the middle here, John Michael Lindenmuth, fought in the French and Indian War. So right then and there, I knew I had to stop in and check this place out. So yeah, here he is, John Michael Lindenmuth, born in 1737. Of course, I mentions him fighting here in the Revolutionary War, which is cool in and of itself, but he also did fight in the French and Indian War, which they don't really have that marked here. Yeah, cool, check out the little handmade one over here, Katharina Lindenmuth. Yeah, born in 1737, but moved to Pennsylvania in 1752. He was from Germany. There's a flag over there we gotta fix in a moment. Let's take care of it now. I'm not sure who it goes to. Alright, so I don't really know who this flag belongs to. I don't see any other war markers out there that it might belong to, but we're gonna stick it over here with the others at least. So it's not just laying on the ground. I'm gonna stick it right here. I have to push it. There we go. Yeah, so like I was saying, he fought in the French and Indian War, so I knew I had to stop in and share this video. I'll probably include it in my French and Indian War series too. But I found he made a journal online about his experience. I was gonna print a section of that out and read it to you here. It's kind of cool. He was part of the Forbes campaign. As you know, we're currently in the middle of filming the Forbes campaign. I'm waiting until April probably to do part 3 of that. But he made it all the way out to Fort Duquesne. Was part of that, helped build the roads, part of the fighting. And I was going to read just a little bit of an excerpt from that journal from the very beginning, kind of describing. It's kind of interesting because I'm not sure if he wrote that part or someone else, but a lot of times, the generals and the people like that, Forbes and Washington was on that trip. They're the ones that get all the glory and the mention of those expeditions. But it was people like Lindenmuth, guys who built the roads, who shed their tears and their blood and their sweat to make those expeditions happen. A lot of times they don't get the credit they do. So I forgot to bring it along, but I'm going to when I get home, I'm going to print it out and read it to you, but I'll insert that clip next. Okay, so it is some days later, but I'm going to put this insert in here, read this little passage that I printed out. Of course, this is from his journal. I think I mentioned that it was an online journal. It's online today. It wasn't online back then. But it's going to mention a number of more famous names that he probably talks about in his journal, some you may recognize, and then some other names of more common folks that were part of the Forbes campaign that you may not recognize, but he talks about in his journal. So I thought this is quite fitting concerning the French and Indian War and those who fought it, those who are of lesser rank. I gotta get my reading glasses on. Okay. The names of Sir William Pitt, John Forbes, George Washington, James Grant, and even the Marquis Duquesne are all echoes of the history of the French and Indian War fought throughout western Pennsylvania. Those of Michael Lindenmuth, Robert Kirk, and Catherine Winepilt are not. Those are people he talked about in his journal. They were part of the mostly nameless army of 6,000 under General Forbes, the Forbes expedition. Yet these people are a more reflecting sample of the many who marched hundreds of miles, froze in the snow, went hungry when supplies ran short, and lived in terror of the shrill cry that marked the onset of an Indian attack. Although at the time, the experience of the men who led them was not much better than their own, their lower rank not only placed them at eye level with the enemy, but also with the bloodshed. Leaders knew numbers, counted the living, and forgot the dead, while those like Lindenmuth, Kirk, and Winepilt had no such luxury. They watched as their comrades fell. After the bodies had been cleaned from the blood-muddied ground, in their own moments of peace, they felt the loss as well as the reality. So I feel that gives a fitting example of what the common soldier experienced, in the Forbes expedition. So I just thought I'd like to read that passage to you. So it's back to the cemetery a couple days later, or before this. So history sadly does have a way of sometimes just remembering, the big guys, the generals, the presidents, things like that. But it's the little guys too that made things happen. Guys like John Michael Lindenmuth. But let's have a little more look around the cemetery. Check out some of the older graves here. Sorry about the traffic, it is a little bit slightly busy here. I think the first burial here was in 1804, according to one website. Yeah, some of these you can see nothing on them. Lots of Lindenmuths though. Here's an Esther. She was wife of Daniel. Here's another one. 1834 with just some initials on it. Probably a child. And Anna Lindenmuth up there. They're almost all Lindenmuths. Here's a Susanna. Looks like she was a wife of a Daniel as well. There's some way back here. I love these older styles, almost like they're handmade. I mean, these are just super cool. There's a WH. Maybe that's where the Heatherling comes from. That's 1839. Just hand, I mean, they're all hand carved, but this is like it was made at home almost. Here's a, what's that say? A Gilbert? Johann Gilbert, 1838. I love those. I'm not for sure, I don't know about camera or not, but here's a DL. Looks like 1890 something. This one doesn't, I can't really make, I think I can see an H on that one. Same with this one. Get WH, I think I see 1835 or 1885 on that one. Whoops, if I actually have the camera pointing at it. But yeah, so some oldies. So those H's are probably Heatherlings. The other name for this cemetery. Let's check out some of the other ones up here. Oh, I got the robins singing. It's gonna be a beautiful day today. May not look like it on camera, but it's gonna be warm today. It's gonna be a nice day. March 17th. Yeah, here's some other ones. PL. Say 1855 it says on there. Alright, we got over here. I can't read anything on that one. Same with this one. It looks like there may have been something on there one time. Looks like a J.I. Born 1805, died, looks like 1872. Yeah. Well, like I said, these are just local stones that someone kind of smoothed out and carved in, compared to the ones that are a little bit more professionally made, I guess you could say. Here's some more Lindenmuths. Lydia, wife of George Lindenmuth. There's George himself. Some other cruder ones. That one has a 18. Can't quite make that one out there. It's like it has an H on it too. Probably a child. And here's another one, just has nothing. Like it has an 1888 on that one. Mary Lindenmuth, Daniel Lindenmuth. Yeah, the website said the oldest grave in here was 1804, but to be honest, some of these look a lot older. So maybe the oldest one with a legible date on it is 1804. I get the feeling that some of these are a little bit older than that, but I could be wrong. I mean, 1804 is still pretty old. I should mention too, our John Michael Lindenmuth back here, when he moved to Pennsylvania in 1752, he lived down in Berks County first. He wasn't living up here during the French and Indian War. This was Indian country back then. So at some point later, he moved up here into Columbia County. All right, so just one last look at his grave. I feel like it should say something on here about the French and Indian War, not just the Revolutionary War. Although, you know, the Revolutionary War is important. Well, that one, that's the marker for it. And they have the Daughters of the Revolution. That's what the bigger one is for. But anyway, cool story. John Michael Lindenmuth. Pretty awesome cemetery too. I love these little ones. All right, but I'm going to continue my journey. Got a big day planned. Stopped at several places already, but we're going to keep going. It's a Friday. It's going to be a beautiful day, so why not just film to my heart's content? So we're going to keep continuing on into Columbia County. Some other old cemeteries, some covered bridges, and whatever else we find. So as always, folks, thanks for coming along. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one, wherever that may be. Although I'm pretty sure where I'm headed next.